All right, so we're gonna head to Watford City. We've got an interesting project there. It's got some metal panels on it, and these are gonna be the longest panels we've ever put on. And in my mind, I'm thinking about how difficult it's gonna be to lift them up to the roof. So we came over to Superior Supply, and I'm gonna borrow these fork extensions or something. I don't know, but it looks to me like they might be handy to lift those panels up.
The oil field was raging in 2014, and then Watford City, that's right in the middle of all that oil activity, got hit with hail in 2014, and so that's really when we started ramping back up into a roofing company, because there was so much need for that, and nobody was interested in that work. I mean, we were able to sign up a lot of roofing work because the oil patch had just snatched up all of the qualified labor in all of western North Dakota. So we were really able to ramp up a lot of roofing there. And that was, like I said, a long time ago, 2014. Well, some of those clients we still have and have been great clients for us. The Assembly of God Church in Watford City. We did work for them a few years ago, and they had some leftover hail from 2014. We replaced a bunch of shingles for them. And now they called us back out to take care of their the main structure of their church, which is that great big metal roof. And these are the longest panels we've ever had to order.
It's probably fine. 3 hours. We gotta rent a forklift when we get there. We gotta be back here by 2 for a very important appointment.
So when we get opportunities like this to do these large-scale projects like First Street Lofts downtown for Eagle Ridge developers, the material orders are huge. We're doing a 5-story building, so there's a huge amount of square footage, and downtown, I mean, the nature of being downtown is there's not a lot of parking, and so it can be quite a project just figuring out where to put all this stuff. So the trucks roll up, and we got to have a pretty good sized forklift there, because the pallets are huge. The pallets are huge, and they have a whole bunch of steel siding on them, so it's heavy. So the forklift is huge, and you're trying to figure out where to put all these huge amounts of material, and somebody's going to get mad because you're going to put material right in somebody's way, and then you're going to get a phone call and have to come back out and move it.
Is that the whole job, or is there more trucks? That's all of it, huh?
At one point, offloading this truck, I wind up like head to head with another guy in his forklift, and he's not unloading a truck. He's trying to do some work on the building, and we wind up having to take turns, who gets to pull up to the building and put stuff where. But I guess we'll just have to get used to that in a scenario like this. I was super glad Greg was there, because Greg is paying attention to the details. He's got the order sheet, he's got the receipts from the vendor showing what's supposed to be getting delivered, and he's there to count it and things like that. And he estimated the project. He won that project for us, so he's the guy that really knows the details of what colors and how much of this and how much of that is supposed to be getting delivered. If he wasn't there, who knows what would happen if it was just up to me to know all that stuff. I just drive the forklift. One kind of fun thing about having projects to do in Watford City is the route to get there takes you kind of right through just about the prettiest part of the whole state, where you get to drive through that Theodore Roosevelt National Park. And so it's always fun to, watch the hills and see if we can find any wildlife out there, or some scenic bridges. And actually they're building a new bridge, and probably gonna knock that old one down.
I was super paranoid earlier that we were getting followed by cops that were gonna pull me over because of my big long handlebars sticking out the back. But they turned out to be just totally nondescript vehicles with no license plates, and we think it was hitmen.
So our schedule kept getting adjusted for when we were gonna start the Watford City Church job. And a critical piece was we were going to need a telehandler there, a big forklift, and I didn't want to bring mine. Mine's tied up at First Street Lofts, downtown Bismarck. So I'm calling Power Fuels, and they told me they had one lined up. I didn't get the vibe on the phone that I needed to, like, you know, firm up a super legit reservation. They were just like, oh, call it the day before or whatever. So they kind of knew I was coming. I knew I was going. I didn't go the day that I first said I was going to be there. So now we're just going and hoping for the best. So I start calling them, you know, when we're about at Dickinson, I start calling them, you know, to make sure that telehandler's going to be there, because that telehandler's not there, maybe my day is shot.
Anyway, so we get all the way to the rental place, and they didn't really know I was coming. Yeah, they have my machine, and they're gonna let me rent it, but I don't have an account set up, so they told me I had to pay with a check up front. Well, I didn't bring a check. I've got cash. They can't take cash, but I just happened to bank at First International Bank, which is based out of Watford City. So we're gonna run to the bank and get a cashier's check for $661.50, and then they're gonna rent me the machine. We'll have it for a week. It'll be great. I didn't bank here, so I've never used the bank in this town. But I think there's a drive-through around back. Let's go to the bank. I need a cashier's check. Here.
Okay, let me see if I can do that through here.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we'll need you to come in to do a cashier's check.
Just right in front?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That worked like a charm. First International Bank was able to whip that check out real quick. So now it also kind of sounded like they were getting this telehandler ready to be rented. I think I had told them that I was maybe going to rent it last Monday, and I didn't show up Monday. The guy behind the desk is like, this must be who I was getting it ready for, isn't it? I'm like,
And the guy I'm dealing with there, you know, he says to the other guy, oh, is this the guy you were getting that telehandler ready for? I said, yep, got it ready yesterday. And that sounded not quite right to me because I hadn't talked to anybody yesterday. But I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna, like, hope for the best.
so we're gonna go rent it, and I hope the guy they were actually getting it ready for doesn't show up until, like, we're well out of sight. They signed my deal, or I signed their deal, and so the machine is mine for a week. And they said, he said, well, I think somebody brought it around front. I'm like, well, I didn't see it. I'm like, oh, I'll call him. Now what? Now we wait? So we wait. I don't see anybody bringing it up for us. Telehandler, come on. 45 minutes.
And we wait, and we wait.
Out front here? Did I misunderstand? Is it over here?
And I'm, like, starting to lose hope because I think I know what's going on.
Oh, he wants to talk to me.
Chase it down?
Coming right here.
Oh, perfect.
They'll bring it right up, right through there, right up to you.
All right, super.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Did you hear him? Just tell me where it is, bro. I'll go get it. Okay, so the forklift that he thought he rented to me, he rented to somebody else yesterday. But he says he's got another one, but it's got some issues. They got to go pick it up and replace some hoses on it and stuff, and then it can go out to the job. He says it could be ready tomorrow morning. And that's okay. We're starting the job tomorrow morning. I thought I was coming here today to get the forklift on site and get it all figured out, sorted out. But this is next best thing. It's all right. So at least I have the problems all solved, and we'll just have to send Kevin here tomorrow to get the machine and deliver it to the job and help the guys get the job started.
So we typically bid new construction work with material and labor. On this project, I guess we sort of got talked into or went along with just being a labor-only bid on it. And you know, on the surface that sounds fine. Like, oh, what could go wrong? It's just like the materials will be there and we'll install them. Easy, right? Not so much. It's a cleaner deal when I'm selling material and labor. Then I know all the logistical headaches are my headaches. Like, you know, oh, this building's tall and, you know, 5 stories tall, and I got to figure out how to get tons and tons of shingles up 5 stories. I don't mind figuring that out, you know, when I've got it all planned for in my bid. You know, I got material and labor, I got to figure out how to get this stuff up there. But if I'm labor only, now there's confusion. Whose job is it to make sure that the material gets loaded up to the roof? You know, is it whoever's delivering the material or whoever is installing the material? Well, I'd prefer that to be whoever delivers the material can lift it up that high. But we got our wires crossed, and so we did not have clarity on that with our client, so now we have to deal with figuring that out. I thought about being a big baby and just demanding that, you know, the client figure it out and rent a big old crane and get somebody in there to figure out how to get those shingles up to the roof for us. But my telehandler was just up the road, you know, on a different project. And I thought, well, I could drive it down and maybe just take care of it that way. Maybe if my telehandler is big enough, maybe I can get it close enough to the building and put it straight up enough. Maybe I can get the shingles up there. It can feel like a bummer when you leave town and drive 3 hours and you got like 2 things to do and one of them totally falls through. You know, like getting that telehandler delivered. You know, so it didn't happen. I mean, I guess I still got it lined up, you know, so it'd be easy to beat yourself up, but you kind of have to just, you know, take what the day gives you and make the best of it, because, you know, otherwise it's just too discouraging to do a 3-hour drive and feel like it was a waste of time.
These panels are super long and I wasn't sure how this was gonna go. I suppose what they unloaded it with was a Moffett truck. And those Moffett trucks have a super wide set of forks where they can pick up really wide. And our telehandler won't be wide like that. So that's why I brought these steel bars from Superior Supply. Oh man. Abel says the way he wants to do it is have 2 guys removing panels and 2 guys installing panels on either side. If you can pull that off, it should go pretty quick. There's not much for penetrations or anything, so the project should go pretty smooth. We started working with this church as a client a couple of years ago. They actually had put their steel roof on this building in 2014. That's the year the sanctuary was built. And a huge hailstorm hit that summer, and we did a lot of work in this town that summer. But at that time, what they did was that the roof did get totaled out, but since they were just in the middle of a big new construction project here, adding on to the church, and then what's happening now is the roof has gotten worse and worse, and now in really high winds, in like a windstorm situation, the roof is actually like lifting up off the steel purlins and making a lot of noise during church and stuff like that. So they decided to go ahead and pull the trigger and replace the roof. And actually, probably more than a year ago now, they had hired me to replace the shingles. They had a little bit of a claim left on some of the shingle damage. We were able to come in and go through the claim paperwork that they had on the shingle part of the roof, and we found that after an audit that they had been way underpaid on that shingle replacement. So we were able to work through that with their insurance company and increase that claim to get a way more appropriate, you know, good thorough restoration to the shingle portion of the church. And now we're here to finally wrap up replacing the metal roof. And then we're even going to resurface. They've got a flat area up there. There's a flat roof that is like Duralast. And I'm not going to put Duralast on it. I'm just going to recoat it. We found them a good cost-saving opportunity to just recoat that roof with a Sherwin-Williams product, Uniflex, and that's going to have a good 20-year warranty on it and save them some money.
Okay, great. So whatever, half a dozen extra errands later, we at least have the promise of a forklift available the next day, and we've dropped off our supplies so that the crew can start tomorrow. Now check this out. At the opposite end of the state in Fargo, we got a project, just getting our eyes on it for the first time. Drove out there to take a look, and another Eagle Ridge development project. It's going to be really cool.